Let's rock.
It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
We're back.
We are.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Right off the bat, sorry about last week. We were a no-show.
Yeah.
It isn't because we're slackers, and it isn't because we don't enjoy doing the show for everybody.
It is because?
Well, because we're involved now in a new endeavor, in a new project.
We ran out of time.
And we simply ran out of time. We have started doing, and we annoyed everyone last year. And it was in the chat room, I'm obsessed with baseball and all this other stuff. So rather than inflict our baseball sensibilities on the darting community at large,
that would be a good way of putting it.
We decided to do a baseball podcast. And it has taken so much time and from us doing the show that literally we've been in here since, 5?
Yes.
We've been in here for 3 hours doing our baseball show, which, by the way, is on iTunes
Well,
and on Stitcher.com.
We have been doing 3 hours of baseball talk. But
Well, we did almost 2 hours of podcast tonight, right? So if you're interested in baseball, if you go to thebackrowboys.com,
correct.
We have articles and baseball podcasts for the people that like baseball, which most of the darters don't. But that's why, time-wise, we've been having issues. So we apologize for that. But we're back.
We are. I've got something to say about that.
Oh, okay. Say something.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
And we should also probably get this out of the way. How are your brackets? This has been a disaster for most people this year with the NCAA.
For the first time in 26 years, I've got a chance.
You've got a chance.
I almost had, I filled out 2 of them. One of them was a disaster, but my second bracket, if Virginia would not have succumbed to the Syracuse whatever.
I switched it off. They were up like 13.
Yeah, I would have had all 4 teams in the Final Four.
Wow.
But I got Villanova winning it all over North Carolina. Villanova has to beat Oklahoma, and I had Virginia in there too. But so 3 out of 4, not bad for me. Actually, very good for this guy because usually I'd be the guy that would have picked Michigan State to win it all, and after day one,
against Kansas or something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone had Kansas and North Carolina. I don't know how Kansas lost. I don't know how
Villanova's
Syracuse.
good, man. I'm telling you.
I don't follow college basketball anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves too quick.
Normally, I'm the guy that picks by the second day, the second round, Friday, the Saturday and Sunday games. Usually, I'm the guy that picked the upset was my pick to move on to the Final Four. Or win.
Right. So you're knocked out early.
I'm crumpling up my sheets by the third day of college basketball, so I'm happy this year that I am not.
The funniest thing on Twitter was all these people like taking vines of them burning their brackets when Michigan State lost. How do you lose in the first round? I mean, I went to DePaul. I mean, we were the number 1 ranked team in the country. We lost in the first round twice.
It's
with guys that are in the Hall of Fame.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's weird. Well, good for you. So, who am I rooting for then? Villanova?
Villanova, baby.
And they're out of Philly?
Wildcats.
We don't even know where they're from. They're from Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I think Philly.
Somewhere in the Philly area,
Yeah.
maybe. Okay. Well, good for that. So we have a lot of catching up to do. The Premier
We do.
League in 2 nights is Judgment Night, where lives are hanging in the balance.
At the balance.
The guillotine is suspended over
Yeah.
some necks, and there will be drama when it drops. Also, there was a fairly interesting tournament over the weekend. The German Masters went on.
We have those results.
And,
We do.
and we could talk about some other stuff. Have you played at all?
No, I
mean, league's over, right?
league's
So-
over. I actually I threw a little bit last night, but the last couple of Mondays have been busy. I really haven't had any time.
I have been like dragged into 301 games with my
Ugh.
significant other. No, I 301's a good game to play. You know, 301's
Where,
a
at
good
home or
at home.
out and
Yeah,
about?
no. I haven't gone out to throw in ages. I mean, I just even thinking about it. I'm kind of like the one place I'd like to go to where you could smoke on the patio. You can't smoke on the patio anymore, and I'm
Right.
like, well, then why on earth would I go there? No, it's been kind of interesting though. You know, I switched to different barrels with longer points, and I made the mistake of I don't know why I did it. It was a couple of weeks ago. I took off my carbon fiber shafts. I think it was because somebody asked me why carbon fiber shafts and stuff like that, and so I put on the shafts you're using, the like the clear. They look like they're acrylic.
Yeah.
I think they're called gears. So I have like these lightweight spinning shafts on now, and literally it's like I think it's maybe only a gram difference, if that, between the carbon fiber and the plastic ones. But I swear to God, it's like the darts are like weigh nothing. Like I'm throwing 5-gram darts with these shafts.
Is it good or bad?
Well, it's weird because if I get it to the board, you know, if I follow through correctly, stuff's going in. It's just going in at kind of cockeyed angles, and I'm kind of like, seriously? And then, you know, because my grip is so complicated, and now with the longer points, I've had to change where I'm holding the barrel. And the nice thing about straight barrels is you can walk the barrel if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you need to get like a little quick drop, you know, you can hold it a little further forward than you normally do, stuff
Right.
like that. If you need to really hammer something through some flights, you can hold it a little further back. So I've always thought that like you had a bit of a advantage with straight barrels, just the sheer versatility of what you could do with them.
Right.
But now I don't understand why stuff is going in, and it's confusing. And then, you know, these skinny little long hypo points, I can't tell sometimes if they're in. And there's nothing more annoying than having to get off the line and go look and see if something's in. There's nothing
It
more
is,
annoying
yeah.
than that. And
Even having to ask the chalk or whatever.
well, yeah, and so
Stopping.
now I'm lazy, and I think it's in. I'm playing 301, and then, you know, I throw one that's in, and then I throw there, and then I look. Hey, that wasn't in.
Right.
Well, I guess you're right. You could tell from over there, and I can't tell from the line if it's in. That's kind of bad. So it's been kind of interesting. I mean, now the way I'm playing, I'm sort of like, you know, if I put a couple solid weeks in, I'd be very curious to see how I do. So with these,
Does
well,
it mean you might not?
there's so much else going on. I mean, opening day is a week from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And already, you know, I'm looking at all the Cub games we're scheduled to go to, and I'm like, well, how's all this fitting in? So hopefully I'll be able to hit the some of these CDC tournaments if I'm even allowed. I mean, I haven't looked to see, you know, all these qualifiers and all this other stuff people are doing. It's like, oh well, you know. That wasn't my originally when they were doing the CDC, it was like, well, you show up and you play.
Mm-hmm.
Now if it's like, well, I got to go over there to qualify and there to qualify, you're completely changing the paradigm, and I'm not, necessarily all that enthused about it. And then, all the normal tournaments, kind of depends on the schedule and stuff like that. So I've kind of dropped out completely as far as like playing the tournament darts, which is funny because that's the only darts I care to play.
Right.
If you call me up and say, hey, Will's is empty, come throw, I would probably do that, but you never do that. So it's all
not
on
that
you,
empty
man.
Ever.
Well, no, especially now it's not going to be empty. Baseball season's ramping up, and in our neighborhood, that's going to fill up every pub.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every night, I would think, because fans are out there now watching.
Yeah,
road
not
games,
necessarily
stuff like that.
away trips, but
Yeah,
home games for sure.
I don't know. I'm
Everybody's
stoked.
out.
I can't wait for the baseball season to start. I mean, following spring training it's easier now because they have stuff on MLB.com and all this stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, how do you evaluate an at bat against a AA pitcher who's working
You're not
on something?
supposed to.
I know. It's just sort of like, well, okay.
You're not supposed to watch spring training and evaluate anything.
Well, look, I mean,
You're watching as a fan.
Well, I'm watching more. I consider myself more than a fan. I'm kind of more involved in like analyzing it. So
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to analyze when you don't see speeds.
You're not supposed to.
Well, the real season is starting in 6 days.
Yes.
So now we can really get into it, but that's something else. Okay, so where are we on time? Are we good? Can we start?
We got 1 minute, or you just want to take a break now and let's get it over with?
What can I possibly cover in 1 minute? I mean,
Let's take a break.
we'll
and come
take a
back.
break. We'll come back. We'll talk some Premier League. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve P. Be right back.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second quarter at Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. We need to update the little graphic there. He's got a new logo, if I remember correctly.
Who does?
TheDartZone.com.
Dart Zone. Yes, he does. Right.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
get in here and actually work on the show. Let's talk Premier League.
Let's.
2 nights. What is it? The 31st is April Fool's is Friday, right?
Correct.
Okay, so Judgment Night
2 days from
is
now.
coming. The guillotine.
Mm.
Update us on the table. Who's on first? What's on second?
Going into Judgment Night,
Yeah.
Van Gerwen, Taylor, and Gary Anderson all have 12 points. Adrian Lewis, James Wade have 10. Peter Wright has 8. RVB has 6. Robert Thornton with 4. And your bottom feeders are Chizzy and Smith with 3 each.
Okay, and they are, what are we lopping off? 2 heads?
2 heads. You have 3 people fighting for 1 spot.
Smith, Chizzy, Thornton.
Smith, Chizzy, and Thornton.
Are we all even now as far as like number of matches
everybody's-
played?
everybody's
we're all
caught
caught
up.
up with the illnesses and everything?
Correct.
So then who's
Makes
Michael?
it a true judgment night.
So then we need to know who Michael Smith
Michael
is
Smith
playing.
gets to play Phil Taylor.
Ooh, good luck.
Chizzy gets to play Peter Wright.
Okay.
And Thornton gets to wait for both those matches and then gets Adrian Lewis. So Thornton will know his fate, possibly.
Well, he'll know whether he needs a win or a draw.
Correct.
Right? If Smith and Chizzy both win and they're at 5,
No,
he
well,
still has a chance.
I'm saying that assuming like he'll know his fate if they lose.
Well, who's playing first?
According to the schedule, Smith against Taylor, and then Chizzy against Wright, and then Thornton against Lewis.
So
Thornton gets to wait.
Okay. Well, it's going to yeah, okay. If Smith loses and Chizzy wins, Chizzy's through.
Correct.
Right? So basically
Yeah.
if Smith wins, with the leg differential, I can't really see it from here, but Smith is dead. Right? He's down like a bunch of legs to Chizzy.
Yeah,
right?
12.
So that's the tiebreaker.
Right.
So okay. So it looks bad for Bully Boy.
It does.
He's got to
For
beat
sure.
Phil,
Yeah.
which, is not easy even if Phil's having a bad day. And then a draw doesn't really help him.
A draw for Thornton. Thornton's got to lose. Yeah, he's not only has to win, he's got to have 2 people. Well, he could have.
Yeah.
Chizzy could draw. If he wins,
Well,
Chizzy
no,
could draw.
Chizzy. Well, if you're losing 2 guys, if Chizzy draws, that puts him at 4 points.
Right.
So he's ahead of the differential with Thornton. But then, if Thornton wins or draws, then he ends up with 5 points. So Chizzy and Chizzy and Smith both have to win to have a chance.
Right.
And then Adrian Lewis, not easy to beat.
Smith goes first. He has to win.
Right.
And then watch it all unfold after that.
And hope he gets through.
And hope he gets through.
The only way he gets through is if one of those 2 loses after he wins.
Well, Chizzy could draw because he'd only get a point.
I know, but that'll only get him to 4. If
Right.
Smith wins, he's at 5 points.
Right.
So
he gets ahead of Chizzy, and then Thornton would have to lose. Those 2 would end up with 4. Smith would.
yeah,
have 5.
Thornton would have to lose.
Thornton
Yeah.
would have to lose, but Chizzy could lose or draw. He could at least get away with a draw.
No,
with Chizzy.
Chizzy's got 3 points. If he loses, he's out.
I'm talking about Michael Smith. Only Michael Smith.
Okay.
If Michael Smith, first of all, Michael Smith has to win regardless.
Has to win. Yeah.
After that, if he loses or draws, he's done. Because
Right.
even if he
Okay.
draws,
Yeah, Smith has to win.
even if he draws, he's tied with Thornton, and he loses.
And he
the
loses
tiebreaker.
the thing. Yeah.
So Smith has to win. Bottom feeder right now. Smith has to win, and then he gets to watch it unfold. He can get away. He doesn't have to have 2 losses. He can get away with at least a draw
From
Chizzy, because that would give Chizzy 4 points.
right. Okay.
But he has to have Thornton lose.
Lose, not tie, but
Correct.
actually lose.
Actually lose.
It's so when you got 2 guys ahead of you, it's so much harder.
Yeah,
You know.
because the tiebreaker is so.
Yeah.
He's
well,
screwed.
he's just first year in the Premier League. Everybody wanted to see him in it. He hasn't performed.
Well, I believe
that
the last time
but-
we did the show, both Chizzy and Smith were at 1. So
Yeah.
they've at least
Yeah,
won
they
a
haven't
match
made
since
much
then.
progress. I mean, while we were away. Okay, so the top 4 are pretty set. Well, the top 3 are all tied.
Correct.
And then Adrian Lewis is 4th.
With James Wade both at 10.
All right, so the top 5 are pretty well established, right?
Peter Wright up there with 8.
Trying to figure out who I would root for out of those bottom 3. I mean, who do you
Van
want to see?
Barneveld, Wright, and
Well, I mean, the guy that probably you really want to see get through is Chizzy, but I think he may be too far behind. Does he have the leg? He's got the leg differential on Thornton. So if Chizzy wins, well, if Thornton wins, I mean, Thornton's in control of his own destiny there.
True.
So
I don't know. You look at Gary Anderson. He's got 6 wins. He's got more wins than anybody.
who Gary Anderson does?
Yeah, Wade, Taylor, Van Gerwen, and Lewis all have 5 wins. He's got 6 wins. He just doesn't have any draws.
Yeah. I think one of those draws that Taylor got was a total gift. I mean, I think he drew with Van Gerwen, and Van Gerwen actually looked to me like was outplaying him badly. I don't know. The schedule these guys are playing now is so like every week, I don't. As a dart player, just it's weird. I mean, you play, you win, you lose, whatever. You have no time to. It's just on to the next match. It's on to the next tournament. I mean, you have no time to celebrate, commiserate, what have you. And I think that's kind of what killed tennis. There's a tournament every weekend, and it's like, where's your off season? Where's the off season for tennis if the Australian Open is in January? Right? Where's the off season for darts?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, in America,
they changed it in golf too. There used to be a set off season of like 3 months.
Well, it was the silly season.
Yeah.
It was after the PGA and
now,
after the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup up until January.
Right.
It was all like the Wendy's mixed doubles challenge. They called it the silly season. It was all these like silly tournaments, but then most players didn't play.
And now they have like the Fry's Open at the beginning of November, and they all count towards FedEx points.
Yeah, it doesn't. See, that's where the TV money and is kind of killing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have an off season. You have to have. I mean, you look at the tennis players breaking down. Like, how many times does Rafael Nadal not play in the Australian Open?
I agree. It's
what sport doesn't have an off season? I mean, admittedly, we were talking earlier about the Blackhawks are kind of fading.
They're too worried
they played
about
more games than
They're
anybody
too worried
else.
about everybody's off season happens at the same time. Not take away the major sports, but what we just talked about: golf, tennis, bowling, whatever. All their off season is in the same months, and so apparently they're worried. What are we going to show?
Yeah, what can we watch in
have?
November on a Saturday?
But yet they can
it's
come
all
up,
football.
Right.
Yeah, college football's on like 5 nights a week, and then you got
Pretty
pro
much.
football on Sundays. So why are you trying to program stuff in December and November?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I mean, admittedly, I'm not into college football, but I don't see got so many stations and so much airtime to fill. I actually was watching curling the other day.
I was too.
What's wrong with me? Curling.
It's NBC Sports Network has Friday night curling night.
Yeah, well, what it was I was watching a spring training game and I couldn't take it anymore, and I saw curling on there, and I put on curling. And,
NBC Sports Friday night curling night.
Read a book. Seriously.
Well, you literally can read a chapter in between each little puck that's going down.
I don't know. I enjoy curling. It's something, and maybe it's just me because I'm a verbal guy and I like listening to people speak. I like words, So it was one of the things, we were talking about, reading baseball columns and stuff like that, and baseball is a sport where there's conversations going on that you can listen to while you're watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it in the stands too, although, to be honest, most fans' conversations bore me. But like the guys in the booth, if they're good, they'll have an interesting conversation as kind of like a sideline to what you're actually watching, which is a ball game. And there's a pitcher futzing around with the rosin bag, and hitters like going through this weird ass thing where they got to step out of the box and tighten their gloves. I mean, how loose did they get on that swing? You know what I mean? It's all this fidgeting and all this stuff. Curling is like that. You have all this conversation while, the players are strategizing or whatnot. You don't get that in a football game unless there's a timeout or, somebody's down bleeding and they're bringing out a stretcher. And then what are they even talking about anyway? So that's the nice thing about, curling is it's kind of like baseball. And so for me, watching it, dart matches,
I don't think you can have that.
Well, you can't have it in like the Premier League because the action is so quick. You can have it it's kind of funny. They almost do this minimalistic thing with like, BDO darts and stuff where these guys are like not really playing well enough to even talk about them. So they'll start talking about something else. I'll be like, oh, there's a ton. And, and then they'll go back to like, back in the day, Bobby George and whatever. I mean, you can't, we started this show, right? Like years ago. And we tried to, treat darts as a sport, but look at what you need to actually cover something as a sport, right? I mean, you need quotable players and you need, action that's way above average, what the average person can do. You know what I mean? And then you need
watchable moments.
Well, you need print media.
Yeah.
That's timely. Right, you think about how baseball started. Baseball all started from newspapers, right? You had box scores that were invented in like the 1860s, and guys writing about yesterday's game that you would read about today and stuff like that. And I don't really see much of that, and it's hard. I remember we were talking about tournaments, how tournament directors should go to the local high school or something and be like, "Hey, get your journalism kids to cover this."
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be or get a college kid, come and cover it. And do they do that?
No.
The only thing I see nowadays is like, hey, Dart Connect, where you can go look at the scoreboard on the internet and follow a match, and it's like, well, that's all well and good, but how are you drawing in fans? How are you drawing in fans to say, go look at the score on the internet and just stare at the screen while the numbers change?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how is
without
that?
Having see, yeah.
How is that even remotely going to help?
I don't see it.
You know what I mean?
It's not the same as, scoreboard watching.
You're going to go post something on Facebook. Hey, look at me. Here's my picture. I'm going here or there. Like, how is that supposed to, like, enlarge the general public's perception of a sport? I mean, that's not going to work.
No.
So, the PDC at least does it. They cover their own events. You can go on their website and read about it, right? They have their little box score. Here's like the out percentage and la-di-da-di-da. I mean, if you did what the PDC did, you'd at least have a start. As far as like, covering it as a sport and giving people a place to go to, find out about it, right? Like the dart forums with all the hardcore people and their opinions, that's kind of good too, the fan chatter and stuff. But, I don't know why I'm even going about this. Kind of lost my train of thought. Let's come back. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the German Masters, kind of an interesting tournament that went on over the weekend. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. Be right back. Alrighty then.
What?
Let's try that again.
What the hell happened?
Well, what
Dart
happened
Talk
was
agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
I mean, it's a good thing no one's listening.
Who cares? Nobody's listening.
Is that Major League?
Yeah.
What a good movie.
Can't say that on the air. Nobody's listening anyway.
Welcome back to the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. There's
Usually
such a
it's
lag.
my fault. You
well,
look
no.
at me.
What happened was they updated the software on this stuff again. We've never used it before, and apparently, when I clicked over to change screens,
Mm-hmm.
it kept running the audio from before, so it was like a 5-second lag
froze,
or something. I
yeah.
mean, that's kind of lame. We pay for this stuff. How horrible is that? Okay, the German Masters
German Masters
was held over the weekend.
European
Easter weekend.
Tour Event 2, whatever that
European Tour Event 2. And what did we glean from this event, from this tournament?
A lot of the usual suspects. Peter Wright beat James Richardson 6-2. Michael Smith beat Ian White 6-4. Joe Cullen beat Gary Anderson 6-0.
6-0.
Ooh,
Smoked them.
in the quarterfinals. This is,
Dream Boy. What happened?
and then Van Gerwen 6-5 over Chris Dobie.
6-5 over a nobody that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
No.
Tested.
So Anderson
Weird
and
format.
Van Gerwen, are these guys too much into the Premier League, or
I don't know.
it's the travel you're talking about? And
I don't
all
know.
Of a sudden you
I
gotta
mean,
go.
You're talking about the quarterfinals and the semifinals. I mean, they've been playing and winning all day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it raced to 6. I don't even know why they even bother, but it's another event, so have at it.
Then you go to the semifinals. Peter Wright takes care of Michael Smith 6-4, and Van Gerwen rights the ship, takes care of Joe Cullen 6-1.
Yeah, he kind of following that one on Twitter. A lot of people rooting for Joe Cullen. I mean, good-looking young guy. Seems to throw proper dart and whatnot, but Van Gerwen, seriously?
Well, yeah. Well, what?
Good luck.
Gary Anderson 6-0.
Yeah,
But-
and I don't know what the deal was with that match, if Anderson was having double trouble or whatnot. Not the sort of scoreline you'd expect to see. I think that's safe to say.
Right. And then in your finals, Van Gerwen won 6-4 over Peter Wright.
Yeah, you're looking at these averages in the low 90s, and I'm like, well, okay, if you need to break Van Gerwen, you got to throw a 12-darter. How are you going to throw a 12-darter when you're averaging
Right.
92?
Well, and if there's a time to beat Van Gerwen, it's when he's averaging in 92.
Yeah. Just kind of a, kind of scratchy, you miss, I miss, you miss, I miss kind of a match. Anticlimactic, I think.
Peter Wright did take out a 158, though. Ugh.
I still remember Adrian Gray taking that out on me. Man, nothing annoyed. Of all I've lost plenty of legs in my life. Nothing annoys me more than seeing somebody take out a 158 and remembering Adrian Gray taking that out on me.
What's more annoying, that they actually left themselves with 158 and then took it out, or just the taking the 158?
Well, the annoying
Sometimes
part.
It's inevitable.
Well, the annoying part was I was on something relatively makeable and I whiffed. I think I was on 72 and I missed 36 or something. He's on 158, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get another whack at it, and then boom, 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 and I'm like, seriously? And then that's a break a throw on my set where I have the throw, and then he holds, and instead of being up 2-1, now I'm down 1-2,
Right.
and I'm like, seriously? And then
in the blink of an eye.
and then friends of mine are saying how handsome he is, and then you just want to start slapping people. So, yeah.
Not only did
158.
he take out a 158 on you, man, the guy's good looking.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing that makes Steve all upset. Yeah, but Adrian Gray's a good guy. Somewhere on Facebook, if you go through my photos, there's a picture of me hanging out in a pool in Vegas with him. Very handsome man. Just
I'll be sure to check that out.
Well, I did it for a friend of mine who thought he was just like the bomb, and I was like, oh, well, I'll torture her and I'll have a picture with
Nice.
him, and then you could say, oh, that could have been me, kind of thing.
She could superimpose the photo.
This is dart life, right? Pictures of people stealing my hats and pigtails.
You leaving
and
your shoes.
all the boredom of a
you
dart
got your
tournament.
shoes back, though, didn't you?
I did get them back. That was cool. No, I don't know. I've lost. I don't know. I lost a garment bag in Nashville. I lost a pair of pants in Philadelphia. I mean, you know, there's
Don't tell
pieces
Jill
of me
that.
all over the country.
You've lost a pair of pants in Philadelphia. Was Jill with you?
No.
Oh, that's
It was one of those things where it's one of those things where I
Not
went
a
through a
good story.
phase where, you know, I got stuff hanging in the closet, and then when I pack, I forget what's hanging, and I just leave it there.
So you don't ever open the closet door?
Well, it's out of sight, out of mind. You've never heard of that? So, yeah.
I've heard of that statement, but I've never heard of not double checking your hotel room to make sure you didn't leave anything.
You know, sometimes, you know, you're playing and packing, right? Because there's events on Sunday, but then you're checking out Sunday.
I get that.
So, you know, you go play a match, you win, then you run up and you kind of do this. Throw this in the suitcase, la-di-da-di-da. Okay, this is still good. What time is it? It's 10:30. I got an hour and a half. Okay. And you go back down, you play another match. Then you come back up. Okay, now I got to stage my suitcase. Whose room am I putting it in? La-di-da-di-da. Oh, my God, you know, it's second call. I got to run, you know. And
you
so,
forget your pants.
Yeah, or whatever. You know, I left a pair of glasses in Indianapolis. I mean, it's just sort of stupid. That's why I stopped traveling on Sundays. It's like, just leave on Monday. You know,
Yeah,
so
sure.
and then you could chill Sunday night and actually hang out with some people, you know, and have a good time. You know, I mean, the little like diddle tour tournaments and stuff. I can't even imagine what it's like in the electronic world where you're playing at 5 a.m.
Oh,
You know, I went to a tournament outside of Louisville a couple of years ago, and these people. I went up to my room and I laid down and waited for them to call me. And what time they call you? 5:45. And I'm like, I don't know what you call it. It's not a dart tournament at 5:45 in the morning. It's something else. That's not a sport.
Oh, no, not when you have to turn around and
5:45 in the morning?
You have to turn around and play at 10:30, 11 o'clock in that morning? No.
It's dumb. It's just kind of dumb. And what was it? The Whisper Twins complaining that, you know, they're all on Adderall or something to play at 3 a.m.
Right.
It's like, what is this?
It's not a war of attrition.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a dart game. I mean, darts is a simple game, you know. I was watching Jake Arrieta pitch, and I'm looking at his motion and all this stuff, and, you know, this crossfire thing, and then I go to the dartboard. I'm like, well, this is a lot easier. All you got to do is just kind of move your arm a few inches and follow through, and
Right.
the dart goes in.
That's
it's not rocket science. You know,
You just have to do it
As
consistently.
we make it, because the more time you put into it, the more consistent you're going to be.
Right.
I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, a lot of the other stuff kind of gets in the way, and I think when you go to tournaments, that's what you find. You find people like having a hard time with a lot of other things outside of the dartboard. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, darts is fun though. It's fun to play a game of darts. I got yelled at.
Recently?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what it was. I intimated, not accused, intimated that somebody had miscounted their own score
Mm-hmm.
and like basically read the riot act. And, you know, when I play 301, I keep the score in my head. It's not that hard.
Right.
You know, but apparently what some people do is they'll be on a number, like let's say they're on 271, and they'll throw 3 darts and then count the total that they threw and try to subtract it from 271 to figure out what they're on. I never understood that because I subtract every dart I throw right after I throw it. So
but
apparently some people don't do that.
no, because there's a concentration aspect. If you're concentrating on subtracting, you're not concentrating on throwing your next dart.
But it's how do you know what to throw at if you don't know what you're on?
Well, I agree with
It's
that
like
to an
cricket.
extent,
I mean,
but,
you have to see if something's in before you move
yes,
on.
But
And
most people, well, it depends on who you're playing against. But you know, a lot of people don't start thinking about what they're throwing at until they're under 200. At 280, 271, you're wondering what you're throwing your next dart at. A lot of people are still throwing it. They're triple 20 no matter what, so they don't have to subtract until you get to like all of a sudden 140. Then you have to pay attention to whether that first dart goes into the triple 20 or not. But then most of those people still have to go, trip 20. Well, that leaves me 80. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But from a simplistic aspect of it,
you play 501.
Yeah,
do you subtract? Do you always know what you're on?
No, because no.
You
from
don't.
A simplistic aspect of it is, and I've tried to work on it though, but is subtracting when you throw a dart. You're
like if you're at 401.
4. Who cares?
Well, I do, but
right.
Apparently I'm the only one.
Yeah, who cares? Whether you throw a ton 80 or a ton 40 or 61, it doesn't matter. You're at 401. Who cares?
Are these the same people that don't care that go to look to see if it's in?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Because I see people doing that, and I'm kind of like,
that
what
annoys. It doesn't make any sense.
Why are you looking? It's
Right.
not gonna. You're still gonna throw at the same thing anyway.
No. Oh no, I don't think those are the same people.
Okay.
I think that's the opposite. Those people that at 401 that throw the first dart and they have to look to see whether it's a triple 20. Who cares?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, there's a couple of numbers.
Okay, but really, in effect though, really what that does though is if it's actually a triple 5, all that does to them is get them frustrated because it wasn't in the triple 20, and you're still at 386. Instead of 341, who cares? And now you're upset because you hit a triple 5 instead of a triple 20.
Well, 341's a 6-dart out.
You still have, well, not for these guys, it's not. Okay. And you still have 2 darts to throw, and you're upset that the dart you thought was in the triple 20 wasn't. So it's like, why even look?
Well, here's
let alone the aspect of continue throwing.
Well, see, you talk to darters, and this whole like cricket versus 501 thing. I don't if you're playing cricket, you have to know what was in. You need to know if it's a single or a triple. So why would you not need to know it when you're playing 01? Like the numbers are meaningless until you're at a finish?
Pretty much.
Yeah, see, I don't understand why you would have a different mentality.
Because the difference is because most people playing 01 don't throw cover shots at 271. Because most people aren't good enough to hit those cover shots, so you're better off just throwing it to triple 20.
God invented cover shots for a reason.
God did not
God's
invent
trying
cover
to help
shots.
You. God did not invent cover shots? Who did?
Albert Einstein, whoever can.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Randall J. Cover, who was the first guy to go to the 19.
Yeah.
Good old Randall J. Well-known darter in 1841 Lake District in England.
Who invented the abacus? He probably invented the cover shot.
Well, no, the guy who invented the abacus was also the same man who invented the ab worker.
Yes, yeah.
He's a very, very prolific gentleman.
The ab roller?
The ab roller, that's it, the ab roller. Abacus. Did you ever try to work one of those things? They try to teach us in, like, grammar school math class. Let me ask you something. Okay, this is totally beside any point that we've made. Do you know what a sophomore is?
Do I know what a sophomore is?
Yeah.
It's the second year.
Chat room girl, do you know what a sophomore is? So I'm having my ex-brother-in-law turned 60. So his kids invited everyone to a sports bar to celebrate with him. Good guy. Likes to play golf. Big Cubs fan. And one of my nieces is a sophomore. And I asked her, I'm like, do you know what a sophomore is? And she's like, well, it's second year. And I'm like, well, that's not technically what a sophomore is, but did they not tell you what a sophomore was? So I went around the table. There's literally a PhD, a master's in business, 7 BAs, entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. The whole family's there. No one knew what a sophomore was. And I'm like, I learned this my first day of class when I was a sophomore. It comes from the Greek sophos and moros. Sophos is wisdom and moros is fool. So you're a wise fool as a sophomore. This only comes because the Cubs have all these sophomores this year. I was just like, does no one speak English anymore?
Am I over that like nobody cares?
So when you were a sophomore, nobody told you this?
No.
I don't know what school I went to. That I'm the only person apparently that I know that knows what a sophomore is.
Do you know what a sophomore is?
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back for one more segment. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. Right back.
That you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Sadly, I won't be going to Virginia Beach this weekend. Probably one of the best events that a tournament hosts is the
You haven't
cricket.
been there in a couple of years, have you?
I went last year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I mean the
you
the
guys
Friday
made a
cricket.
vacation out of this.
Yeah. So we can't. Everything's all messed up.
Right. Now weddings will do that to you.
Oh yeah, that's not public knowledge, actually.
I didn't say it was your wedding.
Oh, okay.
Be weddings you have to go to.
All righty then.
Guess what? It's still not public knowledge because nobody's watching.
Right,
this
that's
show.
true. Nobody's going to watch this episode. Chat room girl's laughing. Bring in a chat room girl. No one's in the chat. I get it. We weren't here last week, and I'm not around on the tournament circuit anymore. Therefore, I obviously have nothing worthwhile to say. Right. But it's kind of funny. There's a tournament I've always wanted to go to, and that's White Mountain. And and it's the same weekend as Virginia Beach, so that's
All right.
kind of a bummer because there's a lot of tournament players that would probably enjoy playing both, and now they can't. So one of the quirks of the schedule this year, and it's kind of too bad. But we do wish, safe travels and good times to everybody playing in those two events this weekend. I don't know if there's anything going on electronically or not. Don't much care.
You mentioned something about beef.
Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to ask you about
There was
beef.
a commercial on, I can't even remember how this came up, but beef was an acronym for somebody where it was, I don't know if they were hitting or, no. They were shooting a free throw. So I was watching the NCAA, and it was like, beef stands for balance,
Effort.
elbow.
Oh, okay.
It's somebody shooting a free throw. So it was balance, elbow, extension, follow through. Something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's the easiest way to teach somebody to play darts that I could think of. I
Mhm.
mean, everybody's always kind of equated throwing a dart with a free throw, but it's hard to explain it to somebody who isn't a basketball player. Right? So, yeah, was it balance, elbow? I don't think it was extension. Oh, no. It was balance, eyes, elbow, follow through. And balance, eyes, elbow, follow through. And I was like, that is brilliant.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Beef.
Beef.
I like
It's
beef.
what's for dinner.
I like mixing a little lamb, but yeah, beef is good. And
Some people do, some people don't.
And it was so funny. Love of My Life was playing in like the singles league and had this in her head, and was kind of, how did she put it?
She had beef in her
Well,
head?
no, she was like, well, I don't know, I would miss, but then I would keep thinking beef, and then it would go in, and I wasn't sure why it went in, and the play-by-play that you get from people after a match can sometimes be more entertaining than the actual match itself.
So, I mean, does that mean, like, even though you're not supposed to coach, you could just be sitting in the stands going, beef?
Where's the beef?
Yeah, where's the beef? Wendy's. And you'll know what they're talking about. And
Wendy's. Or
And
just
that
kind of
doesn't
like
sound like Coach, yeah.
grab your midsection and be like, beef.
Chicken.
Get the beef. But actually, as far as like, kind of a simple, approach to darts, I can't think of really anything that I've heard that is that simple and yet that exhaustively
perfect,
inclusive.
Yes.
That's not the
Makes
word I was
sense.
actually
No,
looking
but-
for. I'm running out of words. I've used too many words today. There must be a limit.
Oh my God! If only
No,
that was
do you know what I
true.
mean? Though it does kind of like it does
Wouldn't
kind of
that be great if there was just a limit to how many words somebody could speak, and then you went to speak one, and
my gosh,
nothing came out of your mouth, and you were silent the rest of the day? That would
like-
be
like,
fantastic.
What
if-
didn't somebody do a movie on that? Where was it Eddie Murphy? He only had so many words
Yeah.
left. And
Yeah.
did you watch it? Was it
No.
any good?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. but-
Okay. I don't know. The I saw a dude bobblehead on the internet somewhere, and I almost tried to buy it.
Okay. that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So
Well,
you saw a dude bobblehead, and you almost tried to buy it. What?
the reason I bring it up is because, like, of all the movies that should have been dart movies, The Big Lebowski
Mm-hmm.
would have been much better instead of bowling if he played darts. You could leave the rest of the movie there. Right. The nihilists and all the nonsense that goes on. But imagine that movie, instead of in a bowling alley, in a bar where you're playing darts and that, like, the slimy John Turturro guy, is licking his barrels, saying he's going to beat you in league on Wednesday, and then you're dealing, that wasn't in, because like, what was it? The guy went over the line in the movie. In the guy goes over the line, and eventually the guy's mark it as 0 and pulls a gun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dart equivalent to that somewhere.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah, over the Aki and
Yeah.
yeah.
Did I tell you that there was actually one of the guys that I knew when I first started playing? I mean, like literally the first 2 weeks I was playing, was notorious in the league for like bringing a video camera to prove that some guy was over the line. Oh,
you
yeah.
never told me
There
that.
was some guy.
Are you kidding?
He
In
was doing,
league?
yeah, he had some hitch, so he was like stepping over as he was letting go of his dart, and this guy was convinced that he was actually landing and then
Hopping.
launching, so he brought a video camera to prove it. And that's when I realized that darters were a special kind of breed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're going to take that seriously to that level, you know, how far we've come.
Wow.
We'll be back. We'll be back next week. We'll update everybody on Judgment Night and who got the guillotine, and we'll bring you some results from some of the tournaments in America. That'd be nice. We're going to have to start bringing up some Canada results too, people. And then I also got something from these Michigan guys. They're trying to get something going. We'll see if we can't. Remember, I said something about they were going to do a benefit for Flint and stuff like that.
Correct.
So
we
don't have time tonight, but we did get something in the mail from those guys, and we'll convey that to you. Again, if there's issues you want us to address or whatever, just email them to darttalk@gmail.com. Don't forget we're on Stitcher.com, on iTunes, on TuneIn.com. We got our website, darttalk.us. We have a YouTube channel, Dart Talk US, and, I don't know, we're everywhere else. You got anything else?
Nope.
Okay, we'll wrap it up for this week. We'll be back Dart talking to you next Tuesday night, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific.
Correct.
Safe travels, everybody.